As people, we live our lives in a web of social relationships. We have relationships with friends and family, romantic relationships in work and educational environments, and politics, and religious communities, and healthcare at local levels and global levels, all these different relationships. And so when we talk about social empowerment, we mean that people have power within those relationships in terms of access and control over resources, and also in terms of decision making. To gain social empowerment, we often need to work collectively or individually to change the culture and the structure around us, which impact those social relationships. I see people fighting for social empowerment all around Creighton's campus. We see people in terms of students, staff, faculty, who are all trying to flourish in educational and work environments. And they are engaging in various individual and collective efforts to do so. They are striving for a living wage for their work here on campus. They are fighting for policies that affect the culture and the structure around sexual assault and harassment, which can derail people from flourishing in work and educational environments. We see a lot of collective fights to move forward, and because of the various fights of people who've come before us, there's a lot of policies here that help people gain social empowerment in their relationships here. Just as one example, there's been a lot of efforts here at Creighton to create policies that now exist for parental leave for both women and men, and support for nursing moms, family leave policies, on-campus childcare facility that help people balance competing demands in their home and in their work lives. We cannot have social empowerment without the empowerment of women. In 1977, Combahee River Collective wrote their now classic Black feminist statement, in which they came together and said, as Black women, we experience simultaneously race-based oppression, sex-based, class-based oppression. And they were really one of the first groups to say that these different systems of oppression were interlocking. And so they also make an argument that to have the freedom of everybody, we need to fight for the freedom of the most marginalized people. So if we fight for the social empowerment of women, if we fight for the social empowerment of those people who are not white, who are LGBTQ, who are indigenous, who are disabled, who are religious minorities, if we fight for all of their social empowerment, we gain social empowerment for all of us. I'll also say we have to be careful that sometimes what is called the social empowerment of women is actually only the empowerment of certain women, those who are white, upper class, able-bodied, heterosexual. To have the social empowerment of women, we need to focus on the social empowerment of the most marginalized women. Combahee River Collective was correct that if we empower those who are most marginalized, it helps everybody. So if we look at countries that have a greater percentage of their elected politicians are women, it benefits women. They enact policies that create better outcomes for women, and it leads to things like lowered violence against women, but it also helps create policies that benefit everyone. You see lowered greenhouse gas emissions in countries where a greater percentage of the elected body is women. Lowered mortality, better population health. You see lowered corruption. You see lots of good outcomes that affect everybody when you focus on lifting people who are most marginalized into positions of power. As a sociologist, I would question that you could have overall empowerment of women without social empowerment of women. Power is social relationships, so all empowerment is a social empowerment.